Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
This is the Michael K. Show podcast.
I gotta get more K.
Listen live weekdays at 1 on 880 ESPN, the ESPN New York app, and your smart speaker.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this chilly Wednesday. It is February 19th, 2025. It's Michael K. and you. That's the way it works. You're the co-host. You know the number to join in, 1-800-919-3776. It's a Wednesday, so we'll talk at 2:30 with Mike Lupica, but we want to talk a lot with you before that because we have a lot to talk about. Now, I was thinking, so at his press conference the other day at Port St. Lucie, Juan Soto said that he joined the Mets because he felt that they had a better chance to get to the World Series than the Yankees did. And then Aaron Judge was asked about that, and he wasn't angry about it, but he said, well, I disagree. I think we have a better chance of getting to the World Series, but he could think what he wants. So there are so many layers to this, and listen, I think that Soto did the right thing for he and his family. He got the most money. He got a record-setting contract. He's going to be the face of the Met franchise for 15 years. He's essentially going to be a partner of Steve Cohen and Alex Cohen. He has his own luxury suite. His mom has her own clothing line. They have security. I mean, it's a great deal. It would have been tough for him to turn it down. And there were other offers made to him by the Yankees and by the Blue Jays, the Red Sox. I mean, there were teams that were in on Soto because Soto is a once-in-a-lifetime generational player. I should say generational. So that being said, rather than come out and say, you know what, I took the Met offer over the Yankee offer because they gave me more, an average of $5 million more per year. The contract was worth more. They gave me a lot of perks that, I wasn't going to get with the Yankees. It's all legitimate. Instead, he said, I think this team has a better chance to win than the Yankees. And in thinking about it, I've gone over it a lot. And, you could say that the teams are somewhat even in terms of talent, right? Because if you look at the PECOTA projections, after the signing of Alonso, the Mets' PECOTA projection jumped up significantly. And the Yankees and the Mets, if you look at all of the projection sites, there's a difference of 1 or 2 wins. Okay, so they're evenly matched. Now, the Mets have a higher payroll by about $20 million at this point than the Yankees. So I think they're like 324, and the Yankees are 304. So, I mean, that's essentially a number 5 starter if you really want to break down what $20 million means. But I don't look at how evenly matched they might be because I think the Yankee pitching is so far superior than the Met pitching that puts the Yankees over the Mets. Okay, but you can Yankee boy me all you want. But here's my point. Here's what I don't quite get. And even a Met fan would have to agree with this. If you're the Mets, getting to the World Series means that you have to get past the Phillies and the Braves in your own division. You've got to get past a much improved Cubs team in the Central. The always pesky Milwaukee Brewers. Watch out for the Reds this year because Terry Francona works his magic. But I don't think that's going to be a huge impediment to the Mets, but I'm just throwing that in there. And then you got to get past the teams in the West, which might be the best division in baseball. The Diamondbacks are outstanding. The Padres are really, really very good. The Giants have improved. And then you've got the $380 million Dodgers. So in order to get to the World Series, that's a lot of hurdles that the Mets have to jump. And it's going to be like that for a while now. Now, the Phillies, I think their shelf life is a little bit shorter than the other teams I mentioned because their roster is aging quickly. This might be their last year where you can look at them and say, well, they've got a legitimate shot to win the World Series. After this, guys are hitting ages that it just doesn't seem viable that they can continue to play at this high level. JT Realmuto, Schwarber, Harper, whatever. I mean, you look up and down their lineup, there's a lot of mid-30 guys there, and that's usually the beginning of the deterioration of skills. Now let's take a look at the Yankees' road to the World Series. Does anybody, and this is just for Met fans too, not just Yankee fans, does anybody in the American League really frighten you? Like, say, the Dodgers frighten everybody in the National League. Red Sox are improved with Bregman. They're improved. I think they're a pretty decent team. I don't think they're better than the Yankees. The Orioles are a good team, good young players. They added veteran starters, but I don't think that they did enough pitching-wise to really compete for a championship. They will get back Bautista in the bullpen, which is going to be huge for them. I don't care who comes out of the Central because historically the Yankees have owned the Central. And then in the West, I think Texas is going to have a bounce back. DeGrom's healthy. So I think they're going to be pretty good. Houston doesn't go away, although the team that we loathe and love all these years, it's completely different. No Tucker, no Verlander, no Bregman now. Really, Altuve's the one left from 2017. This is a completely different team. And, the Angels have made some improvements, but I don't think they're going to be a factor. So have I named anybody in the American League that you would be fearful of for the Yankees to get through and go to the World Series? So then my hypothesis is this. Soto could be looking at the Mets and looking at an owner who has told him, I'm going to spend whatever it takes to win. And he feels good about that the Mets are always going to be a competitive team. But you have to look at the road to the World Series, which is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to win it, but you want to be in it to win it. So in order for the Mets to win it, they got to get in it. And in order for them to get in it, there's a lot of real big potholes that they have to get through, or landmines, so to speak. So I think the road to the World Series is much more difficult for the Mets and any team in the National League than it is for the Yankees. I just don't see a powerhouse team in the American League that's going to really derail the Yankees. Now, you can lose a 5-game series to anybody. Pick the worst team in baseball, and you could actually lose that series. You just could. Pitcher gets hot, whatever the case may be. But I think Soto is just trying to put a lot of the emphasis on other things why he went to the Mets rather than the most obvious thing, which is all the perks and all the money he got. And I don't think that's anything to be embarrassed about. I don't. I don't know why players come up with these side angles rather than just say, you know what, the Mets offered me the most money. I like the vibe here. I think it's a really good team. I think we got a chance to do a lot of great things. Okay, that's it right there. But you tell me the last time a player said, listen, I went here because they paid me the most money. They don't. And for the most part, they're fibbing. Now, if money is fairly equal, then you could say the stuff like remember Mike Hampton all those years ago? I'm going to Colorado because the schools are better. Never was there more ridiculous thing uttered by a player about taking free agent money than the schools in Denver, Colorado. Like there aren't good schools anywhere. Let's say you don't like the public schools. You can go to the priciest private school in the world. In whatever city you live, you're going to find a great school if you want to pay big money. So that's what I'm meaning when people come up with these angles on why they take the decision to go somewhere and move it away from money. Listen, the Mets offered a truckload of money. They treated him like a king. They pretty much told him that they're going to treat him like a king. Hard to turn down. Instead, you come up with, I think the Mets have a better chance to get to the World Series than the Yankees. And if you look at the roadmap for both teams to get to the World Series, that's simply not true. Again, that's not making the argument that the Yankees are better than the Mets, and I think they are better than the Mets this year. That's not making that argument. So let's just say that they're fairly equal, which is what a lot of the projection systems say. Let's say that. Let's go with that. So if we say they're even, then we can say, well, let's look at, let's plug it into Google Maps, and what's the easiest way to get to a certain destination? The Yankee way or the Met way? And I think even Met fans, unless they're totally biased, would have to say the Yankees have the easier route. Even if they're equal teams. Now, if the Mets are in the American League, then he could say that. Because everything is cyclical. It's like, the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference in the NBA. Everything is cyclical. Things are going to look terrible and loaded one way or the other. Right now, the National League is loaded, and has the most loaded team and possibly the most perfect team assembled in recent years in the Dodgers. Doesn't mean they're going to win the World Series, but you got to get past them. And even if you don't even face the Dodgers, you got to get past the Braves to win your division. You got to get past the Phillies to win your division. And the Dodgers aren't the only threat out of the West. There are a lot of teams that are threats out of the West. Now, when we look at the Yankees and the Mets, and things could happen. There's so much time in spring training. Yankees' first game against the Rays is going to be on the YES Network at 1 o'clock. Can't wait to do it. That's going to be fun. So it's starting. But the big separator between these two teams, the Yankees starting rotation, Cole, Fried, Rodon, Rookie of the Year, and Schmidt, with Stroman as number 6. The Mets, Manaea, Senga, Peterson, Holmes, Blackburn, and Griffin Canning. And Montas is going to miss the first couple of months of the season. Come on, what's better? Even Met fans, I need you to tell me the truth. What's better? I know the Mets have a great pitching lab, as do the Yankees. Mets have a really respected pitching coach in Jeremy Hefner, as do the Yankees with Matt Blake. So Hefner was able to get a lot out of a little last year, and the Mets were 2 wins away from going to the World Series. And now, the argument that Met fans get, now we have Juan Soto, and we fell just 2 wins short. Okay, but you were 3 outs away from losing to Milwaukee in the first round. And the games you lost against the Dodgers, you got punished. So, yeah, you took it 1 game more than the Yankees took the Dodgers, but the Yankees and the Dodgers, if you line up the stats from that World Series, remarkably equal. You line up the stats with the Mets and the Dodgers, not equal. And now the Dodgers got better. So just say the Mets gave me a better deal than everybody else, and that's why I'm there. 1-800-919-3776. And let's go to the phones. This is where you get involved. Dennis in Center Reach. Dennis, talk to us.
Hey, Michael. Michael, I mean, you sound so arrogant right now, man. I hate even saying the term Yankee boy, but do you remember a couple years ago when DeGrom signed with Texas? Mm-hmm. And I remember you and Don, oh, come on. And he was at the press conference. He's like, oh, man, I love this team. I love Bochy. And you guys are like, oh, come on. He didn't go to Texas to win a championship. He went there for the money. They won a championship that year. So it's a baseball season. It's 162 games. It's a lot that goes on. Now, I have some numbers here for you. I have it pulled up. Aaron Judge. The Yankees are built around Aaron Judge, right? If he gets hurt, Michael, they are done. There's no way they could replace him. And I have his numbers pulled up here. He won the MVP last year. The year before that, 106 games played, missed 56 games. If he misses 56 games, Michael, do you think they're honestly going to make the playoffs?
They might make the playoffs, but they won't win a championship.
Right. And if he plays in the playoffs, they could still compete for it. But if he misses 56, they might make the playoffs.
They'd be in trouble.
Right, yeah. He wins the MVP. They have a great year. And then in 2021, he plays 148 games, but he only had a 6.1 WAR, Michael. That's still good, but that's not MVP WAR, right? MVP WAR is like, what, 8 and above? Obviously 10, he wins the MVP, but it's like 8 and above. So he was good, but he wasn't great. Or he was great, but he wasn't MVP. And then the year before that, with the COVID year, it was a 60-game season. He only played 28 games, and they obviously made the playoffs. They went out early. So I think with Juan Soto, what he means is, I think he believes that the Mets are built better for a long season. I think he went for the money, right? But I honestly think he has valid reasons to think why the Mets would be a better situation than the Yankees.
Well, it's a couple of interesting points you brought up, and really DeGrom was not part of that World Series team. He was hurt, but okay, I get
the team he went to.
I get it. I get the point you make. But he did go there. There's several reasons why DeGrom went there, and the main reason was the money. And there's no state taxes in Texas, and from what I heard, he didn't like New York. Okay, whatever the case may be. But you tell me, honestly, Dennis, you're a Met fan, tell me the truth. If Juan Soto stayed with the Yankees and teamed up with Aaron Judge, would there be any chance that the Mets, with just Juan Soto, would be better than the Yankees?
Of course, no, because the Yankees they have Cole, they have Judge, they have the better.
But then you have to believe in yourself. So if he went with the Yankees, then how could he say, I think the Mets have a better chance? So by Juan Soto going to the Mets, Dennis, right? By Juan Soto going to the Mets, he makes them really, really good and a viable team. If he stayed with the Yankees, it wouldn't be close.
Michael, this is the thing. Obviously, every player in baseball, except Aaron Judge, of course, because he's one in a million, are going to the places for the money. You just can't say that to the fan base. But I think Soto's really looking at Garrett Cole. He missed a lot of games last year, right? And, I mean, when he played, he was still really good, but he's older. Who knows? A pitcher could always break down. Aaron Judge is great, but it's like I read out the game slate. It's like once every year. Every other year he's getting hurt. So, obviously, if the Yankees offered the same, he would have been a Yankee. But I think
I don't know about that. You know what, Dennis? I'm not sure. I can't swear to that because I really think there were things about the Mets that he really liked. I think that, the Yankees weren't going to give him a suite, and I agree with them, and they weren't going to give him free reign of everything and security and his mom's wardrobe. They weren't going to do that. They weren't going to do that because what would you do when Aaron Judge says, well, I want mine as well? So, I mean, Dennis brings up some important points, but the only thing you're really resting on is Aaron Judge getting hurt. And Aaron Judge getting hurt the year before last year, which, completely submarined the Yankee season, he ran into a wall in Dodger Stadium. You can't tell me he's injury prone. He broke his toe or foot, whatever it was. So he has not had these injuries that you would say, well, he's hurt all the time. He should have won the MVP in 2017. He won the MVP 2 other times. So, I mean, you're resting your whole thing on if Aaron Judge gets hurt. Okay, so let's say this. If Juan Soto gets hurt, and he doesn't ever get hurt, but if Juan Soto finally does get hurt, then where are the Mets? You could say that about any team in baseball. If Ohtani gets hurt as a hitter, are the Dodgers a sure thing, the way everybody's making them out to be? If Betts gets hurt, if Freeman gets hurt, you can say that about anybody. You're picking out Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge is so important to the Yankees. But if Soto really wanted a sure ride to the World Series every single year, if he signs with the Yankees and teams up with Judge for the next 7 years, tell me that wouldn't be more of a sure thing than signing with the Mets? That's why I don't believe that. That's why I don't believe it. Let's go to Brian in New Jersey. Brian.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Good, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I wanted to talk about what Juan Soto said and how I completely disagree with it. Me personally, I think he was always going to go to the Mets, no matter what.
Well, I don't know about that. If they didn't offer the most money, I don't know if he would have gone.
Do you think even if he was somehow with the Mets already last year, he wouldn't have re-signed with them?
I think it came down to money. And the Mets offered an unbelievable record-setting deal. So even if the Mets had made the trade with the Padres, and then the Yankees came in with the highest offer when he was a free agent, I think he would have gone to the Bronx. But it's funny because Aaron Judge said, I think he always wanted to be there, which I don't quite understand. What was his involvement with the Mets that he always wanted to be there? What was his connection there? I think he was absolutely swept off of his seat by the Met presentation and the fact that Steve Cohen went to places that no other team went to. Because after the 5-year opt-out where the Mets could opt back in by giving him $5 million more per year, the contract's worth over $800 million. You can say whatever you want, schools, the ability to win, that's what it comes down to. Now, I've had people in the know tell me that The Blue Jays would have offered the most if given the opportunity. But there are other variables in that decision. You're playing in Canada, the taxes, the exchange rate, customs, all of that. Doesn't seem like anybody wants to take the Blue Jays money other than Anthony Santander. So I think that eliminated the Blue Jays. The Red Sox went up to about $700 million, but they didn't want to go where the Yankees and the Mets went. And the Yankee offer was for 16 years. The Mets offer was for 15 years. Because the Yankees are trying to spread out the contract a little bit more to just somewhat lower the average annual value. Let's go to Jacob in Union. Jacob.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Jacob.
Good. So one point that you made while you were making the argument that the Mets and Yankees are, pretty even teams, but you think the Yankees are better. If the Mets are projected, if not the same, if not a couple more wins as the Yankees in this harder division, harder league, what does that say about what they would be if they were in the American League?
Oh, I think they'd be if they were in the American League, Jacob, then I think they would be battling the Yankees, and you couldn't say that either one had a clear path.
Well, I know that interleague play is more common, but my point is that if they're projected similar and they have to play harder teams throughout the year, that kind of is favoring the Mets in the projections.
Yeah, but no. I think the National League, Jacob, is top heavy. There's a lot of free wins there. I mean, you've got the Marlins, who are just dreadful. The Rockies, who are dreadful. They're terrible teams that you could pile wins up.
That's true. And you also said if Soto went back to the Yankees, you don't even think it would be close. So then why did the Mets sweep the Yankees last year?
I mean, did you see the lineup the Yankees ran out? I mean, those are individual games. And Jacob, you're a smart guy. Anybody could lose to any team. The Mets dominated the Yankees. But in one of those games, look at the Yankee starting lineup. It was a joke. Everybody was hurt. And by the way, Soto was hurt. So that's one of the reasons they dominated them. I mean, but you can't pull out, two sets of 2-game series and say that is something that you can judge whether a team is better than the other team. Yankees lost to terrible teams during the year. The Mets were not a terrible team. But, again, take a look at the lineup that the Yankees ran out there at Citi Field against the Mets. It was laughable. The whole team was hurt. They're playing nobody that was on the team in the World Series, essentially. No, that's one of the reasons the Mets should have battered them, and they did. Let's go to Jamie in Yonkers. Jamie.
Hello, Jamie. We met years ago, and I think you're a great guy, and I will just say, rest in peace, Jack Dorian, who was one of the greats, if you could connect the dots there.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we were much younger men at that time. Anyway.
Had a lot more fun.
No comment. I don't disagree with anything you said. The only thing that I want to point out here, and I want to talk about all sports and all athletes here. There's a 26-year-old, I'm going to use the word kid, who had microphone shoved in his face, who never went to high school, okay, in the traditional American sense, that is coached not only by the team, but by Boris and his people. What do you think he's going to say?
Well, I mean, Jamie, there's an easy way to say that. Listen, I liked everything about the Mets. I want them to come here. Instead, you're going to say they have a better chance to go to the World Series than the Yankees? That's not true. So, I mean, by the way, don't disparage Soto, though, Jamie. He's a really smart guy.
Okay, that's fine. And
he's really comfortable with his English, too.
I do have one important question. All I'm saying is I don't think that's a transgression nearly as bad as, for example, in a lunch break room, Michael K. taking a screaming hot mug of Bigelow tea and pouring it on Peter Rosenberg's bald head, and having not even Don LaGreca report Michael K. to Human Resources.
You know what? That is a much. Jamie, you're right. That's a much worse transgression. It never happened. I thought about it, but it never happened. But that was an interesting way to go about it. If the Mets coached them and Boris coached them, that was the wrong thing to say. I just think, but you can say whatever you want. We want athletes to be provocative. He was provocative, and you know what? He's talking up his team. I'm not ripping him for saying it. I'm just debating what he said. I'm not going to rip him. First of all, he does not get my ire. I don't dislike Juan Soto. I had good experiences over the last year. I don't blame him for going to the Mets. I don't blame him. I don't think it's any terrible transgression that he did. I don't think it's that he didn't like the Yankees. I think the Mets blew him away. He has every right. He was a free agent. He turned down a lot of offers and bet on himself. Turned down $440 million from the Nationals. And you know what? He almost doubled that. Good for him. I don't have anything against Juan Soto, nor should any Yankee fan. Listen, you could feel hurt that he left you after you showed him all that love, but as I told you throughout the season, it wasn't about the love the bleacher creatures were showing him. It was never about that. You know that anybody who plays for the Yankees is going to have a good experience. They have top-flight facilities. They get treated like kings. The fans are unbelievable. The fans gave him nothing but love, but when it came down to it, who gave him the most money and the best package? It was the Mets. And if you put yourself in Juan Soto's shoes, you know what? You'd probably do the same thing. You'd probably do the same thing because he had no allegiance to the Yankees. Aaron Judge took less money to stay with the Yankees. You know why? He had an allegiance. His entire adult life he's been with the Yankees. He was drafted by the Yankees. So it meant something to him. He wants to be on that wall in left center field. He wants number 99 out there, and he wants a plaque. And he wants to finally win a championship in the Bronx. Those are things that are important to him. For Juan Soto, it was just a way station, just a stop on the way to the biggest payday. Doesn't make him a bad guy. He did what most of us would do. He took the best deal. We'll continue this 1-800-919-3776. Hey, when you work hard, you save hard. So treat yourself with well-earned savings all month long at Bay Ridge Mazda. Get financing rates as low as 0.9% APR on nearly every new model in stock. 0.9% APR. Their goal is complete credit approval regardless of your score. Plus, take advantage of Bay Ridge Plus benefits like ding and dent coverage, key replacement, windshield protection, and roadside assistance. Come see them today in Brooklyn or online at BayRidgeMazda.com. See dealer for details.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
As the number and severity of third-party breaches continue to rise, companies are increasingly vigilant, not just about how they handle their own data, but how their vendors do as well. For security and compliance leaders, this means more security reviews are coming across your desk every day, and valuable time is being wasted on manual security reviews. With Vanta Questionnaire Automation, security and compliance teams can complete security reviews up to 5 times faster, giving you time back to focus on running your security and compliance programs. Over 8,000 global companies like ZoomInfo, Smart Recruiters, and Noibu use Vanta to save time on security reviews. Visit vanta.com/podcast to learn more about questionnaire automation. That's VANTA.com/podcast. Grainger knows space at your facility is limited. As a maintenance specialist, you only have so many spots for backup products in your inventory roster, which means space on your bench comes at a premium. Well, when it comes to breadth and depth, Grainger's got you covered. They've got over 1 million industrial-grade products. Plus, fast delivery helps reduce the inventory you need to keep on hand, freeing up space and capital while giving your operation a winning edge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by a local branch.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
He's been here a long time, and he's going to be here even longer.
Catch the show on demand whenever you want. Just subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, Game Time is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Pair of men's college basketball doubleheaders tonight. 7 p.m. on ESPN TV. It's NC State against North Carolina, followed by Arkansas against Auburn. 7 p.m. on ESPN2, it's Cincinnati against West Virginia, followed by Gonzaga against Washington State. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. All right, so the ratings for the All-Star game on Sunday on TNT, were 4.7 million people. And it was at night on Sunday. And I got to be honest, and I was listening to Don Hahn and Rosenberg driving back from the studio yesterday, and Alan was honest too. I didn't watch it. I did DVR it and watch the highlights later. Not that there were many, other than if you really love Kevin Hart. But I watched the SNL 50th anniversary special. So then I tried to compare what they did. The NBA 4.7 million, which by the way is about 12 to 13% better than last year. So not as awful you would think. Way off, when it was at the height of All-Star Game status. Height. Way off from that. Way lower. But the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special, which went from 8 o'clock to 11:30, so it ran a half hour over, it averaged nearly 15 million people. And also, that was a show for forever. Tapped into parts of people's childhood or whatever, and it made people kind of nostalgic. The NBA doesn't make you feel that way. The NBA All-Star Game does not give you those feels at all. Nothing. So, yeah, we always rip the All-Star festivities in the NFL, the Pro Bowl, whatever you call it, and all they do is get ratings. 4.7 is not an awful rating for an awful, awful production. I don't mean production television-wise, but an awful product. Terrible. Everything about it was bad. The overemphasis on Kevin Hart, the shortness of the games, all the commercials. I still got 4.7. I mean, there are shows on TV that would kill to get 4.7. We're also talking about, Juan Soto's comments about, he joined the Mets because they have a better chance to get to the World Series than the Yankees. I disagree with that just because of the path they both have to take. The American League path is easier than the National League path by a lot. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to, I've lost control of my screen again, guys. So you guys will have to do it. Rich in Connecticut. Rich.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
About Soto, there's no way he could believe the Mets have a better chance of winning the World Series than the Yankees for the points that you made. It's obvious to almost anyone who follows baseball. The money is similar. The perks are nice, but he could afford any perk he wants. I believe he wants to be on the Mets because he's the number one guy. On the Yankees, he would always be the number two guy. I think that's the reason.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's not like I could say that's right or wrong. I never got that sense with him, Rich. But, Aaron Judge has 7 years left on his contract. So let's say that Soto did sign that 16-year deal with the Yankees that they offered. So Judge is gone after 7 years. You have 9 years where you're the man. I don't think he's not like that. He's just not like that. I don't see it. I can't say you're wrong, and you can't say you're absolutely right because we don't know what's in the guy's soul. I think it was about. I mean, they got a pretty big star on the team in Francisco Lindor too, and he has 6 more years, so he'll have 9 years without Lindor. But is he going to be upset if they end up getting Vlad Guerrero during the offseason, that he might not be the guy anymore? I don't think you could think like that. Because a player wants to win. And the better chance to win, the best chance to win, is to be surrounded by a lot of great players. I think Aaron Judge did a lot for Juan Soto last year. And Juan Soto did a lot for Aaron Judge. Great players complement each other. Let's go to Bobby in Belmore. Bobby.
Good afternoon, Michael. 2 quick things. If Sanger is 100% healthy, I would say the pitching staffs are pretty even. I think that's why he's the most important player on the team for the Mets, if they're going to win the World Series or not. And number 2, Iglesias, I don't understand why the Yankees or the Mets or anybody, especially the Yankees and the Mets, why they're not going after this guy. This guy hit .337, led the league in hitting with his at-bats, hit .380 with runners in scoring position, hit .480 with runners in scoring position and 2 out. Great leader, great fielder. I understand he wants a multi-year deal, but at this point in the game, if you offer him 1 year for more money like they did with Alonso, I think he'll take. I don't know why the Yankees are not going after him with DJ at third base right now.
But
he won't be.
But here's the answer, Bobby. The team that benefited most from him last year, the New York Mets, they don't want him, and I think it runs to this level. He is not an analytics darling. Remember when when the Mets finally called him up, that they were urged by J.D. Martinez to do that. He was wallowing in the minor leagues, couldn't get a job. So the numbers last year do jump off the page, but I think when they go underneath those numbers and do the deep dive, they don't love him as a player. I mean, the OMG stuff with the Mets fans loved him. The Mets loved him. His teammates loved him, and he's not being asked back to the Mets. So you're going to make him the everyday third baseman with the Yankees? Listen, everybody's making a big deal out of the Yankees at third base, and I think it's the biggest hole on the team. But you don't have to solve that on February 19th, and you don't have to solve that at the beginning of the season. The Yankees owe $30 million to DJ LeMahieu. If they could squeeze something out of DJ LeMahieu, they're going to try. But let's say DJ LeMahieu is shot. He's a shot player, can't play anymore. His skills have deteriorated. And Oswaldo Cabrera can't play third base. You know what? Then they could go out and make a move. You don't have to solve every one of your problems during spring training. So I don't think there's any urgency to solve the third base problem right now. I think there will be an urgency. When I look at the Yankee team, that's the one thing that jumps out at me. Really? That's what you're going with at third base? And maybe that's not what they're going with. Maybe they're taking a shot. They're taking this shot with the people that are compete at third, and if it doesn't work out, they make a trade. Maybe then they pull the trigger on bringing in Nolan Arenado. Who knows? But you don't have to solve those problems today. And getting back to our caller about Iglesias, the team that loved him last year doesn't want him back. So you think the Yankees are going to get him? Let's go to Joe in Washington Heights. Joey.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Great. First of all, I just want to say you have a great show. I'm really loving the solo show. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
But my point really was I have a lot of Mets friends. I live in New York, and I'm probably the only Yankees fan of my Mets friends. And I feel like, and I was listening to the show yesterday, the Don Hahn Rosenberg, and I feel like Mets fans, the main reason they like the Mets is because they hate the Yankees. And I truly believe that Mets fans, when you ask them why they like the Mets so much, they cannot say why they like the Mets so much without bringing up how much they hate the Yankees.
I think that, Joe, that might be a little convoluted. I think that if you're a Met fan, it's natural to hate the Yankees. And if you're a Met fan and the Yankees have won so much since the last time you won, there's, I don't know, jealousy, whatever the case may be. You're envious. So I don't think that they like the Mets because they hate the Yankees. I think they hate the Yankees because they like the Mets. I'm not going to put that on Met fans. That would be so demonic. Well, I root for the Mets because I hate the Yankees. No. You hate the Yankees because you root for the Mets. I think Yankee fans don't like the Mets, but it's not the same intensity. It's just not. Because I think it's just, there's not the enviable aspect of it. There's not the jealousy aspect. There's just not. With the Met fans, since the last time the Mets won a World Series in 86, Yankees won in 96, in 98, 99, 2000, 2009. Now, the Mets have been to the World Series more recent. No, the Yankees were there last year. But I think that's it. But to say that they like the Mets because they hate the Yankees, I think you got it backwards. I think a good Met or a Yankee fan should hate the other team. That's why Don and I, when we were together in the afternoon, we always spoke about this. You can't like both teams. It just doesn't make sense. Can't have it both ways. Maybe hate's too strong. But when I was growing up, I hated the Mets, and the Met fans hated the Yankees. A lot of my good friends growing up, when I was in Throg's Neck, like when I was 15 years old, they were all Met fans. They used to completely abuse me about the Yankees. That was the fun of being a fan. To say I like them both, that doesn't cut it with me. Can't like them both. Well, they don't play each other. Okay, but at one point, if they play each other in the World Series, you got to make a choice, right? Got to make a choice. Can't root for them both then. Life isn't like that, where any choice you make has no ramification. You're either a Yankee or a Met fan. To say you like both, I don't get it. I never understood it. Don and I would listen to fans say Don would call them frauds, whatever title you want to put on that sort of fan. I just don't get it. I mean, I guess we all love to live in a kumbaya world where there's no dislike, but that's exactly the opposite world we live in. If you don't like something I like, then I hate you. So if you're a Met fan and you don't like the Yankees, then I don't like you. I don't like that. I don't like the Mets. And if you're a Met fan, if you're a Yankee fan, or the other way, if you're a Met fan, you don't like the Yankees and you don't like the Yankee fans. That's what's fun about being a fan. You can't just be agnostic. Hey, maybe the off season, but every season is Bigelow tea season. You know I'm picky about what I drink, especially on days I have a show. One of the first things I do each day is reach for a mug full of Bigelow tea. I love the different flavor options, and it's perfect for someone who makes his living behind a microphone. Want to know what keeps me going? Look no further than my cup of Bigelow tea next to me in the studio. So grab a mug full of your favorite Bigelow tea and tea proudly. Bigelow tea, the official hot tea of the New York Yankees.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%. Meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. The secret's out. Businesses that want to grow, grow with Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Untuckit uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/network, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/network to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/network.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
He's been here a long time, and he's going to be here even longer.
Catch the show on demand whenever you want. Just subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the show, Big Wednesday show on TMKS, and we have Mike Lupica on at 2:30, as we always do on Wednesday, so it'll be fun to talk with him. Talking with you right now, 1-800-919-3776. You know, a previous caller said that if Senga is healthy, the Met rotation is better than the Yankees, and I didn't get a chance to answer him then, but I'll answer right now. No, it's not. All right, let's say you match up Senga with Cole. All right? So let's say they're even, and I think that Cole's better than Senga. But let's say they're even. I'm giving you that because I don't want to argue. They're even. So you tell me Manaea, Peterson, Holmes, Blackburn, and Canning is better than Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Luis Gil, and Clark Schmidt. I'm sorry, you're wrong. I've said I like this Met team. I do not like their starting rotation. They have a $325 some odd million payroll, and you know what? They scrimped on their starting pitching. They didn't go after Burns or any of those pitchers that were on the free agent market. They didn't go after Snell. They didn't go after Fried because David Stearns did not believe in long-term contracts for pitchers. Okay, great. Let's see if they can once again patch together a rotation that'll get them to the playoffs. I think the bullpen's going to be fine. He's really good at that, putting it together, and he's really good at putting together a starting rotation. But I'm a firm believer you need a stud. And the Yankees have 2 studs, Cole and Fried. Did they overpay for Fried? Yeah. Absolutely they did. You don't give an 8-year contract to a 30-year-old pitcher, but in order to get him, that's what you had to do. Did the Mets overpay for Soto? Yeah. Don't give a 15-year contract, even to a 26-year-old. But you know why you do? That's the only way to get him. Because as Andrew Friedman, the GM of the Dodgers, has said over and over and over again, if you act rationally in free agency, you're going to finish third for every single player. So you have to stretch. You have to go beyond what you think is right. Giving Judge a 9-year contract at the age of 30, probably not the thing to do, but that was the way to get him. So you do it. The Mets do not believe in giving long-term contracts to pitchers, and I think if there's going to be something that rises up to bite the Mets this year, it's not their offense. Their offense, to me, is very potent. It could be really, really good. You have a great closer in Diaz. You got people that are going to lead up to him. But the starting rotation, to me, is one question mark after another. Manaea had a really good year last year. Let's see if he follows it up. Senga pitched 5 innings. You gave $35 million to Frankie Montas. You're not going to see him till June. And that shouldn't be any surprise. Peterson finished up strong this year. Clay Holmes, you were converting him from a closer into a starter. Let's see how that goes. Paul Blackburn had a bad back last year. Let's see how that goes. Griffin Canning. Let's see if the Mets pitching gurus could make him go to the next level. There's a lot of ifs there, everybody. So you can't say that if Senga's healthy, the Mets starters are better than the Yankees. You'd be wrong. Max Fried's a legitimate stud pitcher. And I'm one of the few people on this planet, I think, I really like Carlos Rodon. Because when he's on, he's unhittable. Now, he's not on all the time. But you look at his first half last year, he was money. And then he turned in some good performances in the second half. He's got really nasty stuff. And he's the third starter on the team. There aren't many third starters better than Carlos Rodon stuff-wise. So, no, I don't agree with what that caller said. Let's go to Raul in Harrisburg. Raul.
How you doing? The great Michael K. Good afternoon.
What's going on, buddy?
Good. Michael, you know, I'm defending you. A lot of people are saying, why didn't you get the gig for the ESPN opener, Yankees Brewers? And I like Joe Buck, but I got to tell you, my friend, they should have given you that gig. Joe Buck hasn't been around. He's good at Fox. But I just want to comment on that for you. And then I have another thing, all right?
Okay, I'll let you make it. That's very, very nice. But, I mean, I can't speak to it. I don't make those decisions. But if you have a chance to get Joe Buck to do a game, Joe Buck's one of the greatest announcers of all time. You get him to do it.
Oh, no, as a kid, I grew up with Joe Buck. And I love his voice. You know what I mean? But, anyways, that's another
kind of
thing
you to say.
Day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Both of you are good. But I just had some friends. They were just commenting, like, I don't want K. And it reminds me of what you say every day about, you know, people not liking you. And it's crazy. But anyway,
these are Yankee fans that say I don't want K?
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the comments. Oh, we don't have no K. That's good.
Well, you know what? Whatever floats their boat. It's 34 years. I'm doing all right.
It's all right. They're Met fans. Anyway,
so they're Met fans. That changes the narrative, Raul.
Michael, I wanted to hear your thoughts on the new renovations for the Tampa, where the Rays are going to be playing. And in the future, do you think will be more dome stadiums to help the fan experience, you know, and make the stadiums louder, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that, you know, the Rays, with the unfortunate situation where the hurricane blew off the roof of Tropicana Field, they've landed in about as good a situation as you could land in. And, you know, Rob Manfred yesterday, speaking to the media, said that Hal Steinbrenner did an unbelievable job making this available to Tampa Bay. The Yankees just did, I think it's maybe $100 million renovation on Steinbrenner Field. Their batting cages, their health and science rooms, the weight rooms, all that, and the hot and cold tubs, it's better than most major league clubs. The Rays will actually have an improved situation than they would have had at Tropicana Field. Now, I like Tropicana Field. It served my purposes fine. But they're walking into a major league ready situation. They're going to be stunned at how good it is. The only problem is it rains a lot in Tampa, so they're going to be a lot of rain delays. And you know, you could fit maybe a little over 10,000 people at the most into that ballpark for major league games. But supposedly sales are very, very brisk. I think it's a good situation other than the rain in Tampa. And as for the domes, you got to have domes, especially in Florida. I mean, it's preferable to have a retractable roof like they have in Miami. But I think that the next wave of ballparks and I think it's going to be like 50 years from now because a lot of the ballparks are new right now, you should insist on domes, retractable roofs. I think it's mind-boggling in 2025 that we still have rain delays in baseball. It's like we're playing in Sportsman Park in St. Louis in 1930. Think about it. There's no difference. The retractable roofs are a no-brainer. And you could host other events. You could host concerts and things like that in the winter. Now, the Yankees are going to have a Billy Joel, Rod Stewart concert. That's in the summer this year at Yankee Stadium. But Yankee Stadium during the winter, there's not much going on. Occasional college football game, and college football could play in cold weather. But if you had a dome on Citi Field or you had a dome in Yankee Stadium, you could host the biggest concerts in the world. But that boat sailed. That ship sailed. It just did. They built all of these ballparks without putting retractable roofs, which I know are very, very, very expensive. But the next round of ballparks, when they get built again, that should be something that should be considered all the time. But we're far off from that because Major League Baseball has these great new ballparks just built, and nothing's going to change for a long, long time. Probably not my lifetime. 1-800-919-3776. We have some really good news when it comes to the Knicks, who are back on the court tomorrow. We'll tell you about that when we get back. Mike Lupica at 2:30. It's the K Show. K and U right here on 880 ESPN. Hey, college basketball is reaching its most exciting stretch of the season. That's right. Right now, new customers on FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 extra bucks to bet on everything from conference clashes to tournament upsets, and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been wanting to join FanDuel, there's no better time. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/K and get in on the college hoops action before March takes over. And if you want to bet on the Four Nations Face-Off Final, FanDuel is now offering a 25% profit boost token for the game tomorrow. Again, a 25% profit boost token for the game tomorrow. 21 plus, physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
You know what? Check yourself.
Hear more from Michael K. weekdays at 1 on 880 ESPN.
Suck it up and like it.
The ESPN New York app and your smart speakers.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's perfectly browned, it's melty, it's sweet. It's the s'more you just cooked over the fire at AutoCamp. That's right, Hilton brings you new ways to stay, where you don't just get nightly s'mores. You also get clubhouse happy hours to gather under the stars. All while staying in custom-designed Airstreams, cabins, and tents, and insanely cool outdoor destinations. If AutoCamp sounds like a dream, it sounds like it's time to redeem those Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This is the Michael K. Show podcast.
I gotta get more K.
Listen live weekdays at 1 on 880 ESPN, the ESPN New York app, and your smart speaker.
All right, so I'm excited about the Knicks. They get back on the court after the All-Star break tomorrow against Chicago. These three games are going to be very interesting. You should beat Chicago. Then the next day they play Cleveland. Tough back-to-back. Now, they have yet to beat Cleveland this year. And then they play Boston on Sunday on national television, and they haven't beaten Boston yet. So there are little things that, little benchmarks that you have to reach. The teams, they have not beaten Oklahoma City, they have not beaten Boston, they have not beaten Cleveland. Those are the teams, especially Boston and Cleveland, you're going to have to get through. They're going to face Boston in the second round if it ends the way it is right now. And Boston hasn't just beaten them, they've punished them. And there's a chance that they're going to have reinforcements. Because today, Mitchell Robinson took part in 5-on-5 play. And so did Og. OG Anunoby took part in 5-on-5 play. If you could play Cleveland and Boston with Mitchell Robinson getting, 15 minutes, I guess you have to start him slowly. OG Anunoby in the starting lineup, able to defend the best player, the best offensive threat, then we're going to see what the Knicks are really like. Then we're going to see what the Knicks are like when it becomes postseason time. Because they've been a work in progress, and they have actually persevered without Anunoby. Their winning percentage with Anunoby is almost mythical. But 5 games he's missed, they're 4-1. That's excellent. Excellent. And Mitchell Robinson's going to give them a different look, give them a rim protector, and now their bench is going to look different. The bench is a little bit more stout. You play Mitchell Robinson, you move Cat over to the 4, you have a completely different look for the opposing team. And for Boston, that's going to mean a lot. To be able to shut down their big guys, Horford, Porzingis, you can do that if Mitchell Robinson is playing some minutes. Campaign has been good for them. Deuce McBride's been good for them. Shamit's coming around. Precious Achiuwa has given them good minutes. I'll tell you what, outstanding. Now's the time to get excited. This is the home stretch. For some reason, the NBA has its All-Star game at the three-quarter pole, not really at the halfway mark. So I think there's like 25, 28 games remaining. I don't know the exact number. Let's see. Let's see the team as a whole, the team that was dreamed up, and how much better the bench is going to be if Mitchell Robinson's coming off that bench and if Precious Achiuwa is coming off the bench and not having to start without OG Anunoby. I want to see what that team does against the teams that they haven't been able to play well against. And you know that Mitchell Robinson is pumped up because he actually said on IG today, he had a picture of a Knicks jersey, his number, and he just said, go time. So it's been a long road back. So this is big. This is big. McBride, Shamit, Campaign, Precious Achiuwa, and Mitchell Robinson. That's not a bad bench. I know that's the one thing that everybody worried about with the Knicks. Oh, their bench. That's not a bad bench, everybody. It's just not. Alex Bregman spoke at Red Sox camp. I like this signing for the Red Sox. First of all, it's not $40 million a year. So much of the money is deferred. It's worth in today's money value about $30 million. So I think $20 million each year is deferred till after he's retired. And then he can opt out after the first year. It's a no-lose proposition for the Red Sox. And there's a lot of concern in Red Sox circles. What's going to happen if Rafael Devers is upset if they move him? Well, here's what good players do. Here's what team players do. So Bregman spoke today, and they said, well, do you want to play third or do you want to play second? And he said, I'm going to play wherever Alex Cora wants me to play. And this is a guy with 2 World Series rings. This is a star player. The heart and soul of the Astros. Comes to a new team, I'll play wherever they want me to play. Now, a lot of it depends if Christian Campbell's willing to play, ready at a young age to play second base for the Red Sox every day. If he is, well, the people I've spoken to, and we had Tony Maserati on yesterday, does an afternoon drive show on the Sports Hub in Boston. He said, you know what? Rafael Devers says he will not play first base or DH. Well, he's going to play DH. Because Bregman's going to be your third baseman. And then Devers is going to have to play third base. And the thing that Cora has to sell to Devers is, listen, you got your bag. What do you care where you play? Just hit. Just hit. And then you know what? Bregman could be gone at the end of the year. And then you go back to third base if you want it so badly. But I bring up what Bregman said because to me, that puts him in line with what Mookie Betts has been for the Dodgers. Mookie Betts is one of the best players in baseball. He plays wherever the Dodgers want him. You want me to take the glove and try second? Sure. You want me to play shortstop? Of course. Oh, I'm a great right fielder. I'll play right if you want. That's Mookie Betts. Aaron Judge. What do you want me to play? You want to play center because we got Soto? Yeah, let's do it. Bellinger spoke yesterday. I will bat him whatever spot in the order and wherever Aaron Boone wants me to play. And then you get Rafael Devers saying, I'm not going to DH and I'm not playing first base. And Marcus Stroman goes, I'm not going to pitch as a reliever. If you're a team player, you play where they tell you to play. Now, I actually give a pass to Stroman more than I do to Devers. You know why? Because Stroman has an option year after this year where he gets $18 million if he pitches 140 innings in 2025. So he's thinking about the money that he's earned or he's about to earn. If he's a reliever, he's not pitching 140 innings. Mike Marshall out of the bullpen didn't pitch 140 innings. So that $18 million goes away. So I almost understand Stroman's thinking. It's not a great look, but at least he's honest. Devers is in the second year of a $313 million contract. What's his excuse for being selfish? Other than he's selfish. Great players will do whatever a team needs to win. Great unselfish players will do whatever a team needs to win. Look at Soto last year. Always wanted to bat third. Actually, there was problems in San Diego about it. Always wanted to bat third. Boone sat him down, said, I think the lineup is better with you batting second, Judge batting third. Let's do it. And he was playing on a walk-year contract to become a free agent. He said, let's do it. That's what great players do. They put aside their personal stats or their personal needs and wants, and they do whatever the team says to win. And especially when you've got money, you've got guaranteed money, you got your bag. Now play where the Red Sox tell you to play. It's going to be something very interesting to see how that actually breaks down and if that's a distraction for the Red Sox. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Eric in Hopatcong. What's up, Eric?
Hey, Michael. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I actually just wanted to start off thanking you, actually. Me and my son actually went to you, Don and Peter's last show at the Tommy's Tavern in Clifton. And just the reason I want to thank you is, like, you took your time and you said, hi and talk with everybody online as long as the line was. And you stopped and talked to me and my son, so we do appreciate it.
Oh, that was really, first of all, I appreciate everybody making the trip to go there. And also I felt bad because it was cold and there was a line around the restaurant. I just, I wanted to suffer with you guys, but thank you for coming.
Yes, well worth it, though. But yeah, my question, more so answer, was to your opening segment of the show, asking as far as who we thought might be a threat in the American League to the Yankees.
Oh, who do you think?
I was only thinking possibly only because it might be an option that Vlad Jr. might go to Boston. I would only say that because, it would take away, like, if he went to, like, let's say, National League and went to, like, the Mets, per se, that's one less worry you got to worry about because, like, we don't have to deal with him in Toronto anymore. But now if he goes to Boston, you get a couple guys on base. Now you're just sweating it out just as, like, you were in Toronto when he was there. So to take him out of that equation, at least that'll eliminate that a little bit, I think. Well, I was just curious what your take was.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, if he goes to Boston, that's a big problem. I mean, that lineup becomes unbelievable. You're putting him at first base instead of Tristan Casas. I mean, look at that lineup. You got to deal with Bregman. You got to deal with Devers. You got to, they've got good young players there. Trevor Story is healthy finally. He can become a force in that lineup as well. So yeah, that's Duran did a good job last year. He's supposedly going to lead off again this year. I mean, that's a stout lineup. So yeah, it would be problematic if the Blue Jays trade him to Boston. You're absolutely right. Let's go to Yvonne in Queens. Yvonne. Hello,
hey,
Yvonne.
how are you? So I wanted to, you're bashing Juan Soto for being basically a team guy and saying what he's supposed to say instead of saying I took the money. But then, somebody that's actually saying their mind, Devers, you're also bashing him for saying, what he, what most players I think would say. I think most players that want to be team guys.
No, that's not true. Most players would not say what Rafael Devers said. Absolutely
no,
wrong.
I understand. I agree with that. But what I'm trying to say is that you're bashing them both ways. You're bashing Juan Soto for
First
saying.
of all, Yvonne, I don't know. Did you listen since the start of the show? I'm not bashing Juan Soto for saying it. I disagree with what he said.
Sorry, when I say bashing, I mean like disagreeing with him. But
okay, I could disagree with him, just like he has the right to say whatever he wants. That's a silly take. If I don't agree with what he said, I got 2 hours of a talk show where I give my opinion. So Juan Soto gave his opinion. I never said he shouldn't have said it. I mean, there's better ways to go about it. Listen, I came here because I like everything about the Mets. I think they have an unbelievable future. Boom. You know, to say they have a better chance to go to the World Series than the Yankees, but he said it, and I disagree with it, and I laid out my reasons. And you're calling that bashing. And then Rafael Devers says he won't play other positions when you've got a much better third baseman than you in Bregman, the Gold Glove winner at third. You could put him at third and make your team better because they have a pitching staff that's going to allow people to hit the ball. So you say you will not DH and you will not play first base. That's a selfish player. People in Boston are saying that. So I'm not allowed to have an opinion on it. Listen, if you don't want me to give my opinion, don't listen to the show. If you think that when I disagree with somebody, I'm quote-unquote bashing them, this is not the place for you. Go away. Go listen to NPR. I don't care. Do what you want. Listen to music. But when you listen to sports talk radio, I'm going to give my opinions. And I think that what Rafael Devers said was awful. And people in Boston say it's awful. Did you hear Tony Maserati yesterday? Tony Maserati eviscerated the guy. Eviscerated him. And I'm wrong for quote-unquote, I never raised my voice, never bashed anybody. Said, I don't think the Mets have an easier path to the World Series than the Yankees. And you know what? I'll die on that hill. And I think that when a player is selfish, says, I'm not going to do what the team wants me to do, that's selfish. And when you have a guaranteed contract like Devers, that's unconscionable selfish. I can actually see and understand the thinking of Stroman. Because going to the bullpen cost him $18 million. He wants to start and get to 140 innings, so that guarantee kicks in. But Devers, other than sheer ego, that's it. He's guaranteed $280 million over the next 9 years. You do what the Red Sox tell you to do. Let's go to Nick in New Jersey.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Hey, Nick.
Thanks for taking the call.
You got it.
Great show. Hope you're doing well.
Yes,
I
sir.
was listening to you talking about Yankees fans having to hate the Mets and vice versa. I'm a Yankees fan. Be patient, okay? I don't hate the Mets because I don't give the Mets a second thought. They're just another National League team that we play 4 times a year. I don't really care about them unless, of course, they get into the World Series. And the last time that happened, we handled them mightily, okay? The team that I hate are the Boston Red Sox, who broke my heart in 2004. I want a rematch. That's a team I hate because they damaged us. The Mets never damaged us. They're just another team in New York.
Well, I appreciate that way of thinking, Nick, rather than the people who say, oh, I root for both teams. I'm not saying you have to hate the Mets. I'm not saying Met fans have to hate the Yankees. But you can't root for both of them. Like last year, we had people call, I'm happy for the Mets. Really? You're a Yankee fan and you're happy for the Mets? Well, let me just lay it out for you, everybody. What happens if the Mets actually beat the Dodgers last year in the NLCS and they went to the World Series and they met the Yankees and they beat the Yankees in 5 games? Would you be happy for the Mets then? How's that possible? How is that with any kind of modicum of rationale? I'm happy for the Mets that they're making a run. Why? Why would a Yankee fan be happy that the Mets are making a run? Because it could lead to the ultimate playing the Mets in the World Series, and then you could lose. And our caller just said, I want a rematch with the Red Sox. Be careful what you wish for. I said it in 2004. I know how difficult it was to get past them in 2003. The Boone home run got you past them. Oh, let's bring them on again. At some point, they were going to win. So not only did they beat the Yankees in 2004, it was an embarrassment because they came back from down 3-0. Be careful what you wish for. If you're a Yankee fan, don't be rooting for the Mets and be happy that they're in the playoffs. And if you're a Met fan, you should feel the same way, although less so than the Yankee fan. Because if the Mets lose to the Yankees, okay, it's happened before. If the Yankees lose to the Mets, the whole little brother, big brother thing is going to rear its ugly head. Choose sides, people. Don't be agnostic. Don and Peter and I got that all last September. I'm so happy for the Mets. It's great for the city. How happy would you have been if the Mets beat the Dodgers and beat the Yankees in the World Series? Would you have been happy then? Would you have been happy for the city then? I love the civic pride for people that live in the suburbs. Let's go to John in North Bergen.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, John.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you taking my call. Michael, two quick things, all right? You are a Yankee boy, but in a good way. I've told you, you're the voice of the Yankees, so I don't take it as a negative. I embrace it. Like when people, like true Yankee fans as us, when people talk of the Yankees, your name is brought up, Michael Kay, John Sterling, Phil Rizzuto, and so on and so on. So I embrace it, Michael. And number two, with what you say about Soto, I agree 100%. He's wrong, about the path to the World Series. And, he just wanted the money. But like the captain, they're selfish. The captain isn't, he's homegrown. He took a pay cut. And, the word is loyalty. That's what the word I'm looking for. He's loyal to the team. He wants to cement his legacy as a Yankee, which he already has, I believe, but he needs a ring to just cement it even more. Right, Michael?
One thing that I don't love is comparing Soto to Judge. Because Soto didn't have blood in the ground. He was here for 1 year. He did what he was supposed to do. He had a great year, helped the Yankees get to the World Series. That was his allegiance, period. It's a completely different story with Judge. Judge was drafted by the Yankees, went through the Yankee minor league system, came up to the Yankees. There's an allegiance, and there's blood in the ground. There's blood in the ground. Soto didn't have any blood in the ground. That's why I don't take it as personally as people take it. Mets made him a great offer, so he took the best offer. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have an allegiance. He never had an allegiance. He's 25 years old last year. It was the third team he's played for. Turned down $440 million from the Nationals, and he had an allegiance there. He loved that organization. Turned that down. And you know what? It turned out to be the right move. Goes to San Diego for 2 years. Once Peter Seidler died, you knew they weren't signing him. So they traded him to the Yankees. He fulfilled his end of the bargain. He gave them a great year. And then, okay, how much? How long? And the Mets said, this, $800 million, 15 years. He said, good, got it. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Nas in Queens. Nas.
Hey, Michael. Congratulations on your new spot.
Thanks.
I'm just it seems like the new spot is more geared towards the Mets fans, where your old time slot was towards the Yankee fans, because even though I'm a Yankee fan, and even though Juan Soto left, I remember you saying months ago, about a year ago, that as soon as he came from the Padres, he's going to go to the highest dollar spot. Whoever offers him the biggest penny, that's where he's going to go. Yep. And that's what happened. However, the Mets fans come back and yell at you for what you're saying now. So I don't get it. My second point, though, real quick, is I do think baseball is changing, and the Mets are going to be the focal point of that. The Mets are going to be the Golden State Warriors when the whole game changed. All right? They're going to be offensive focused and show that pitches aren't needed. And I think that's going to be the next change in the game. What do you think?
I can never say that pitching's not needed. I don't believe that. Pitching is very much needed. I know it's a bullpen-based game now, but you can't say pitching's not needed. You could say starting pitching does not have the emphasis that it once had, that the bullpen plays a huge role in a team's success. And the Met bullpen is pretty decent. And the Yankee bullpen, I think, has a chance to be the best one in baseball. The Met starting rotation is the question. So, no. The offense is not going to rule the day where starting pitching doesn't matter. No, I don't agree with that at all. As for Met fans getting upset with me saying stuff, listen, I've told you this before. For a segment of Met fans, I live rent-free in their head. They have this rivalry that they've dreamed up between me and Gary, and me and Gary are friends, and I think Gary's great at what he does. But the Met fans, for some reason, are obsessed with the Yankee announcer, and Yankee fans don't seem that obsessed with Gary. I don't know why. I can't explain it. It's something in their mind. I'm living rent-free in their mind. You can see it on social media. There's a white-hot, intense hatred for me. Maybe it's because I have a talk show and Gary doesn't. Could be that. But we both do our jobs. We both get along great. We both text each other on our birthdays. There's no animosity between the two of us at all. But Met fans dream up this thing. They hate the Yankee announcer. Good. I love it. I love it. I'm just doing my job. If you hate me, what can I say? I'll live with it. I'll embrace it. The fact that I get to live somewhere and not pay a dime in rent, that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So keep it coming. Mike Lupica will be on with us in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. Right now, at Bay Ridge Honda is the President's Day sales event. Come and get historic savings all month long. Explore monumental deals across their full lineup of Honda cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and EVs. New Hondas are in stock and ready for you. Save thousands on a new Honda with 0% APR or drive a new Honda from $189 a month. Don't miss the biggest savings during the President's Day sales event. Plus, receive thousands in benefits and savings with their Bay Ridge Plus Advantage plan. Upfront pricing, total peace of mind. Visit BayRidgeHonda.com.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and T-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/ESPNpod and use code ESPNpod for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/ESPNpod and use code ESPNpod.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. The secret's out. Businesses that want to grow, grow with Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Untuckit uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/network, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/network to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/network.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
He's been here a long time, and he's going to be here even longer.
Catch the show on demand whenever you want. Just subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the Michael K. Show. It's a Wednesday, 2:30. That means we get a chance to talk to the legendary Mike Lupica. New York Daily News, MLB.com, best-selling author, the whole deal. You know it. That's just how he wrote it. This is Michael K. talking to Mike Lupica. Hello, Mike.
Michael, you know what legendary means? I'm still here. That's what it means.
Well, knock on wood, right? Knock on wood.
Right. Yep. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I want to revisit something that Steve Cohen talked about yesterday. And, you were very much a part of the scene when the Mets won in '86, and they were the team in the city, and they drew huge crowds at Shea Stadium. The owner brought up the fact that he did not like that they were 18th in attendance last year and referenced a national series where they didn't draw many people in the middle of a pennant race. Why do you think that's so? Why do you think that the Mets have not drawn the way the Yankees have drawn over the last, 2 decades?
Michael, I think that there is something that is ingrained with Mets fans that they still, even after last season, and even after they had seen what happened after their team was 22-33 and looked like roadkill, they still expect for the worst to happen. And I just in recent memory, Michael, they went from 101 wins under Buck to the bottom falling out the next year. So Mets fans are a little like Jets fans, even though Mets fans have had far more success over the last decade than the Jets have had. They hope for the best, and they still expect the worst. Except this is going to change with this man owning the team. I mean, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. I said, you know who wants Steve Cohen as their owner? Everybody. If you can't have Guggenheim Partners or a Steinbrenner, you want Steve Cohen. And he, first of all, Mike, tell me you didn't want to give him a great big man hug after he said that in the last negotiation over Pete Alonso that Boras, the super agent, didn't say a word. How great was that?
Well, he's one of the few people that takes shots at Boras, and he doesn't care because Boras is going to need him more than he needs Boras. Boras obviously represents great players, but if you're going to represent players, you've got to talk to the owner that has the most money. So he doesn't hold back. I was just wondering, was he trying to send a message to Met fans by bringing up the attendance by saying, listen, I'm spending like $350 million a year on this team. You guys better start turning out.
You know what, Mike? It's a fair and really good point. What he's saying is, I've done my part here. Now you do yours. And by the way, I think that the addition of Soto is going to gin up excitement. The way the last season ended is going to gin up excitement. I think he bought himself so much goodwill by bringing back Pete Alonso. I turned on that crazy TGL last night, and there is the owner of the Mets, who owns the New York Golf Club, sitting with his once and future first baseman and Jeff McNeil, and it's just kind of cool to see an owner who's out there that way. I've written this before. If you're a Mets fan, he's a pirate, but he's your pirate.
It is amazing. He is really. This was a guy, Mike, that in the business where he made all of his money, he was like in the shadows. He did not want publicity. I mean, the only publicity he got was that billions was supposedly about him. But now I've never seen an owner this present and interacting with the fans. I think he's enjoying every bit of the fame that comes with being an owner of a team.
He likes being Uncle Steve the way that George Steinbrenner liked being George Steinbrenner. He just has embraced the whole thing. I think once he did step out of the wings and right out there in the middle of the stage, I think he found out that he liked it. I think he likes interacting with the fans on social media. I think it was a terrific interview he did with the great Howie Rose the other day. No, this Michael, we talked about this when Alonso signed, or maybe I wrote it, I can't remember. But it's good when the owner is a fan. And sometimes they can be too much of a fan, and George sometimes went too far that way. But Pete Alonso is a Met now because Steve Cohen, not just because he gives them a better chance, which I believe he does, but because the Mets fan in Steve Cohen did not want this guy to walk away.
I know you have a lot of friends in Boston. You went to Boston College as well. What are you hearing about the Devers comments from people in Boston? Are they kind of shocked that he opened his mouth like that?
A friend of mine emailed me today, and he said, did Rafael Devers only learn that Alex Cora is the manager of the team when he arrived in Fort Myers? I was actually shocked. And by the way, Michael, Devers is going to end up playing where Alex Cora tells him to play. It's going to be as simple as that. And you know who else ought to zip it? Tristan Casas. Tristan, more appearances on the field and less talking about who you think should be playing third base. Okay, they will figure this out, and they're going to have a numbers problem because if Devers does become the DH, then what do you do with Yoshida, who has no defensive position at this point? But you know what? I actually think in an odd way, in a kind of a old-fashioned Yankee way, this is a good thing because people are actually talking about the Red Sox again. They started talking about him when John Henry and them shocked the world by paying what they paid, even if it's only for 1 year, for Alex Bregman, because he had better offers, longer offers from other places. But, Michael, I believe that the Red Sox are going to be the biggest threat to the Yankees in the American League East this year. I with the addition of Crochet, with the addition of Buehler, what we saw from Jaron Duran, who's just a streak of light on the baseball field, the kid in center field, Sedon, I think they have a chance to be a really good story. I'm not sold on the Orioles at all. The Orioles are going to have to show me that they're once again going in the right direction. Michael, and the baseball fan in me and the baseball fan in you has to know how great it would be to have another rip-roaring Yankee Red Sox summer.
Which leads me into what I said at the start of the show. You know, a couple of days ago when Soto met with the media, he said he signed with the Mets because they have a better chance to go to the World Series than the Yankees. And, I mean, the Mets and the Yankees, when you look at the projection systems, they're remarkably even, Mike. But in terms of who has a better, easier path to the World Series, I don't know what Soto's thinking. The Yankees do. The Mets, I mean, the National League is a minefield.
Their division is minefield. But listen, but my thing on that, Michael, is what else are you going to say? The Mets did play the Dodgers a tougher series in the NLCS than the Yankees played them in the World Series. That's just simple math. They went 6 games.
Yeah, but the Dodgers had much bigger numbers against the Mets in the 6th inning. Yankees and the Dodgers were remarkably even in every category.
Well, yeah, but after Freeman had the home run, Michael, the Yankees also nearly got swept, too.
Right.
And so, listen, the fact is the Mets ended up 2 victories shy of going to the World Series, and the Yankees ended up 3 wins shy. And by the way, it's not exactly as if they had to work. The Yankees had to work their way through a minefield to get to the World Series last year, because for the Yankees to get 2 teams from the American League Central, what Yankee fan wouldn't have signed up for that at the beginning of the year? But those comments, I love that Judge kind of went back at him. I love that Judge informed the world that he couldn't get a hold of him. And listen, the first Subway Series game this year at Yankee Stadium is going to be great, Mike, because Yankee fans, they don't even have to have long memories. All they have to remember is Juan Soto basically sitting in front of his locker after they'd lost Game 5. And by the way, after they'd lost Game 5 under crushing circumstances, being down 5-0 in Game 5 and everything that happened in the top of the 5th that night, as soon as the game was over, he basically sat in front of his locker and said, I am open for business. Yankee fans are going to remember that.
And do you also remember, Mike, I mean, that's what Scott does with his clients, because Garrett Cole, when the Astros lost in the World Series, he had a Scott Boras cap on and talked about, like, he had separated himself from the Astros after that last out. He knew he was gone. So there's no emotion. The way they do it, there's just no emotion attached.
No, but I actually think, listen, I love the fact that we got 1 year of Soto hitting up in front of Aaron Judge. I love the fact that we now have a year of watching, and a lot of years of watching Francisco Lindor, who I think is the most exciting player in town, hitting in front of Juan Soto. If you are a New York City baseball team, Michael, you know, I tell you this all the time because I get this from my sons. The good old days are now, Michael. The good old days are now in baseball. This is a great time to be a baseball fan. You saw that Hal was willing to step up and not only sign Max Fried to like crazy money, but they've also added 2 former MVPs. And you see what Steve Cohen did with Juan Soto. And it was so clear the longer it went that he was going to get what he wanted. And that's why all this stuff about what a great agent Boras is, Michael, we've talked about this before. You or I could have negotiated that contract. He's coming off the season of his life at Yankee Stadium after he and Judge had those seasons, and he's got 2 New York teams fighting over him. Who couldn't have negotiated? I'm surprised he might have lowballed him. He should have gotten him $800 million.
Well, it will be $800 million after the opt-out. But, it's an amazing contract.
But it's still, again, I'll go back to my original point. If you are a New York baseball fan, not only can you not wait for this season to start, but you can't wait for the first time the Mets play the Yankees.
Oh, I think it's gonna be an epic series, and I think that Juan Soto is gonna hear booing like he never heard before in his life.
Hey, Mike, tell me this because I'm not even sure. I should know this, but I don't. They're playing 6 games this year, not just 4, right?
Yes.
Or, am I wrong about that? They're playing 6, right?
Yeah, 6 games.
Good, fine, bring it on.
Final thing, Mitchell Robinson practicing today, so is OG Anunoby. The Knicks are, starting a stretch this week, Chicago, Cleveland, and Boston. I'm excited about seeing the Knicks with Robinson, with Anunoby back. Now their bench doesn't look as weak with Robinson coming off, maybe giving 15 to 20 minutes. What's your take on this Knicks team?
Michael, we are going to see over the last, basically, third of the season, if having a rim protector and having OG on the floor, and man, Michael, they need him on the floor for so many reasons, okay? Because he can be great for them without having the ball. They've actually got 2 guys who don't need the ball, Josh Hart and him. But, Michael, they have got to do 2 things from now until the playoffs if we are going to get the Boston-New York series that we want. One is they're going to have to show that they can play some defense, okay? They're going to have to show. And 2, and it can start this weekend, they have to show the Boston Celtics that there's a reason for the Celtics to respect them, because in the 2 games those 2 teams have played this year, the Celtics have been completely dismissive of a really good team and a team we really like around here. But, they've got to show us that their 2 best players can get a stop when they need one, because you know how much I love Jalen Brunson. I think he's the most important Knick acquisition since they got Patrick Ewing from Georgetown. And obviously, the Karl Anthony Towns deal has been a home run, Michael, but just defense is not the strong suit for either one of them. So this is going to be a compelling road from now until the playoffs for the Knicks.
I can't wait. So 3 big games coming up. Michael, thank you as always. I appreciate having you on. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Okay, pal. Talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, now I talk to you guys, 1-800-919-3776. And I got to tell you, if you think betting is prevalent in this country, I'm going to give you numbers that's going to prove that. I mean, just stunning. Absolutely stunning. The numbers just came out. So stick around for that. It leads you right up to Don Hahn and Rosenberg at 3. It's the K Show, K&U, right here on 880 ESPN.
As the number and severity of third-party breaches continue to rise, companies are increasingly vigilant, not just about how they handle their own data, but how their vendors do as well. For security and compliance leaders, this means more security reviews are coming across your desk every day, and valuable time is being wasted on manual security reviews. With Vanta Questionnaire Automation, security and compliance teams can complete security reviews up to 5 times faster, giving you time back to focus on running your security and compliance programs. Over 8,000 global companies like ZoomInfo, Smart Recruiters, and Noibu use Vanta to save time on security reviews. Visit vanta.com/podcast to learn more about questionnaire automation. That's VANTA.com/podcast.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
He's been here a long time, and he's going to be here even longer.
Catch the show on demand whenever you want. Just subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, so the American Gaming Association had their annual report today. They issued it. Legal sports books in this country took in nearly $150 billion of bets, which was a 22.2% increase from 2023. The revenue that they created off that, $13.7 billion, up from 2023, $11.04 billion. It's pervasive. It really is. I mean, there are apps everywhere. You could gamble on whatever you want, in-game gambling, everything like that. You just got to keep it right, everybody. You got to keep it right. Make sure the games are on the up and up. Make sure that people are not taking money to throw games because, again, it's so prevalent. $150 billion bet in this country last year. And the biggest quarter was quarter number 4, the end of the year. They had a lucrative quarter of $3.66 billion they made in revenue. Amazing. And that's because of the NFL, I'm sure. 1-800-919-3776. Don't know if you saw this. Aaron Judge said that he seriously considering playing for the WBC USA team in 2026. So there's a part of me that's petrified if I'm a member of the Yankees. I don't want any of my players playing in that because you saw what happened with Edwin Diaz and how it affected the Mets. But then there's a part of me as a baseball fan, love it. Love it. And I think I like the WBC more now than I did before because I see the energy that it brings and how people do play really, really hard for their country. The injury aspect will never go away from me. It worries me a lot, especially playing that many intense games early before you even start the season. But I don't know if there's a better time to do it. I just don't. But be exciting to see Judge. Imagine Judge against Ohtani with the championship on the line. Last time it was Ohtani against Trout, the famous strikeout that Trout had, and Japan won the WBC. But it's become now a thing, and you can see how international competition really is a thing. Look at 4 nations. I mean, so many people in this country are going to be focused on Canada and USA tomorrow for the championship. It has really elicited a great response, and I think that players play harder for their country than they do in, an all-star game setting. They just do. And it's become a moneymaker. I mean, when you play in Miami, that ballpark is used to being empty, and it's absolutely jammed. It tells you something. You know what else? I was thinking about this. Aaron Rodgers had a pretty decent season last year. Not great, but pretty decent. Better than a lot of quarterbacks. Played all 17 games at the age of 41, coming off an Achilles injury. And the Jets don't want him back. And the only reason they don't want him back, because they're going to be hard-pressed to find a quarterback better than him. And you can't say, he's going to make a lot of money. Well, whether he makes money or not, you're still going to get hit with a dead cap charge. You could have him as your quarterback and have the charge, or you could have him go away, which you've told them to do, and still be hit with the charge. So all those people that said, Michael, you have this thing against Rodgers and, the stuff that he said, all of that stuff, all of that nozzle stuff, it's cost him his job. Because you can't tell me the Jets made a playing decision. They made a decision that they didn't want him and his opinions on McAfee and his opinions on everything to ruin the culture they're trying to build. So now when you look back on it, all the dumb things he said and, the opining on the ayahuasca retreat and the quiet retreat and stuff like that, it has come back to bite him. Because he's not being judged as a quarterback anymore. He's just not. He's being judged as somebody who could be a pain in the rear. Because you can't convince me if he was quiet as a church mouse. Quiet as a church mouse. Just went out there and played. You can't convince me the Jets wouldn't have kept him. And I'm wondering if the reputation he has about being overly opinionated and being out there on some of the opinions, if that's going to stop him from getting a job. Because you cannot convince me. I watched every play of the Jet season that the guy can't play. I'll tell you, he's not a 4-time MVP anymore, But look at his numbers last year. He can play. He can help some team. And if he doesn't land on his feet somewhere, the only reason is not because of what happened on that field. It's because of what happens with his mouth. Skipping the mandatory minicamp. That's stuff that teams don't want, especially teams with new coaches. That's why Aaron Glenn said, I'm good. I'm good. So I understand Rodgers going on McAfee. He has a right to speak his mind. But if you're going to be a distraction to a team, you're going to lose yourself your job. And that's exactly what happened. All the things he does that makes himself a distraction, that makes himself the center of attention, that makes everybody go to him and ask him about their opinion on everything that has nothing to do with football. That cost him his job with the Jets. And it might cost him his career. Once again, you can't tell me that he doesn't deserve to be in the NFL when it comes to talent. It's the other stuff that got him. It really is the other stuff that got him. And that's sad. Because I want to see him play more. I really do. I think he can still play. Maybe there's a spot for him with the Raiders. I don't think the Saints will bring him in. That's another young new coach. But the Raiders fits. If anybody can handle him, it's going to be 73-year-old Pete Carroll. And the Rams could be an opportunity for him, too, if they do trade Stafford. Imagine him in McVay's system. That could work. And McVay has a strong enough personality that he could put up the nonsense that Rodgers brings. We'll see. I think it's too late to change who he is. He's just that guy. He's just that guy, and that might cost him his career. And that's sad because he still has some ball left in him. Don Hahn and Rosenberg coming up next. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a great day coming up. Don Hahn and Rosenberg on 880 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
You know what? Check yourself.
Hear more from Michael K. weekdays at 1 on 880 ESPN.
Suck it up and like it.
The ESPN New York app and your smart speakers.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.